On the financial aspects of it, this is a very strong financial management. I mean, it's a sign of a strong financial management at Bank of Namibia, which indicates profitability from results, investments, and monetary policy tools, where dividends are initially taken from. So, other than that, this boosts now government revenue, but the fact that it's a one-off, not a long-term income stream is a bit questionable there. But now, other than that, we have now the true financial health that depends on the broader indicators, like economic growth, employment, and debt sustainability as well.
Okay. Now, how do then these reserves and increased investments position Namibia for future economic stability?
Well, larger reserves typically improve economic resilience. Okay, so now this help to manage currency fluctuations and as well economic shocks. But other than that, we have now increased investments that can drive long-term stability, right? So if funds now are allocated to infrastructure, innovation, and industrial development, we get to see that there's that long-term stability that comes into it. And now we have to be very cautious about this, because if reserves come now from only temporary gains, for example, the interest rates, the exchange rates fluctuations and everything, then sustainability matters a lot as well in this aspect.
Now, the report also highlighted efforts to manage non-profiting loans using AI-driven forecasting. How effective can this be in maintaining financial stability?
Well, I mean, with the introduction of AI, as we have seen, AI can improve now this risk assessments, which now help banks predict defaults before they happen. And then with that knowledge, it helps them now take preventative measures. Furthermore, we have now better decision making for lending institutions. So this leads to fewer bad loans and a healthier banking sector as well. But also now the other challenge that we might have, or that we possibly might have with the AI integration, is that these AI models, they mostly rely on quality data, right? So now if the input data that is input into these AI systems are flawed or outdated, then obviously these predictions may be inaccurate from the AI.
Now, coming back to businesses, what impact do you see on consumers in terms of loan accessibility and economic growth?
Well, we can look at it from the perspective of businesses and as well consumers. But on the aspect of business, AI can allow banks to now offer more tailored credit solutions. Right? So now this reduces unnecessary rejections, because you see that a lot of businesses get rejected when they try to go and get loans and everything. So now at least this reduces that unnecessary rejection. On the consumer side of things, it may improve always the financial inclusion as well. But just like we mentioned earlier, the strict AI-driven lending criteria might limit now access for those without very strong credit histories. So it will be a very good advantage, mostly for the people that have a strong credit history. But for the rest, we might find it to be a bit even more difficult.
Now, for the companies that use technology like the fintech startups and digital banking services, what opportunities are provided for them?
Well, I mean, AI-driven lending can obviously create these new fintech products, right? So now, as an automated credit scoring risk management tools, for example, you have these products that can actually be now put into production due to now AI, or whether that are AI-driven. So other than that, you have now obviously the digital banking services that can expand, right? So now this offers now smarter loan approvals, fraud detection, for example, and also customer support via AI. So you have an AI that is always available to detect these frauds that we see happening a lot with the banks, especially with our Namibian banks. There's a lot of fraud that is happening. So I do believe with the digital banking services that can expand, AI-driven solutions can actually come into this and then regulate these things as well. On the aspect of, because at the end of the day, the AI has to be regulated as well, and a lot of policies or whatever have to be regulated, right? So now this regulatory support will be very key. Okay, so now fintech startups need at least clear guidelines so that they can now operate within Bank of Namibia's framework as well. So being educated on how exactly these regulations are going to be, it's obviously the Bank of Namibia is going to do that, but I believe they'll be able to assist with that aspect of it.
Okay. Now, the report highlighted financial sector's role in supporting emerging industries such as the oil, gas, and green hydrogen.
Yes.
What impact do you expect these sectors to have on Namibia's economy in the next 5 years?
5 years is a bit. I don't know, but I believe we'll have massive investment inflows as well, of course. So obviously we should be expecting billions in FDIs, infrastructure development, of course, and as well, most importantly, we will be expecting at least employment opportunities. But just on the aspect of the economy, it allows for that diversification of the economy, which obviously now this means that it reduces now that reliance on other industries. For example, the mining and the traditional industries of the Namibian economy has been used off. But now we get to realize that there's also a risk that comes into it as well, because now we get to know that the resource industries can be very volatile. So we need to make sure that we manage long-term benefits, like very importantly, because otherwise we'll still get to lose these things.
Okay. Now, the 2025-2027 strategy aims to create a smart central bank and foster a resilient financial system. What challenges could the Bank of Namibia face in implementing this vision? I understand you mentioned a bit about policies that should be put in place, but what other challenges could the Bank of Namibia face in implementing the smart central bank?
Well, I mean, just to touch on that, on the policies thing as well, we can get back into that. The regulatory adoption. So the laws must also now evolve, right? So we cannot have AI and everything else being improved and evolving, but then our laws that are surrounding these things are not improving. So the laws have to evolve as well to accommodate now these fintechs, the cryptos and the AI-driven finances as well, right? But other than that, we have now obviously cybersecurity threats. We've had a lot of problems or rather hacking that has been happening in the country. So now it's things like this. So the cybersecurity threats will even be intensified if we don't have the proper setup. All right. So the digital banking shift increases the risk of fraud and obviously hacking as well. But other than that as well, we have technology adoption challenges, of course, because we get to realize like AI, digital banking, and automation, right? They require major investment, especially when it comes to technological terms.
Now, finally, with global economic uncertainties, what external risks could impact Namibia's economic growth, and how prepared is our country to navigate them?
Well, I mean, we do have to look at the geopolitical risks of this, right? So disruptions now, obviously, in the global trade or financial markets could obviously now impact Namibia's exports and results, which obviously will have a negative impact on that. But now, from that as well, we do have global inflation and interest rates, because mind you, we get investments like, for example, with the dividends, we get them from these interest rates that comes from global profits, right? So now we get to realize like higher rates could now slow investments and borrowing as well. Okay, so the fact that we have higher rates, it means that our investments and borrowing it's slightly slower, because people now have to come pay back a lot of interest and everything, right? But now also, let's not forget the commodity price volatility. For example, with the oil, the uraniums, the diamonds, a downturn could obviously hit the revenue. Okay, but now to prepare the Namibian economy, Bank of Namibia's monetary policy, forex reserves, and trade partnerships, of course, they play a major role. Okay, but now obviously we have to realize that more diversification is needed in this aspect as well.